3, 2, 1.
Nice.
Okay, I'm getting in position.
Wow, it's fucking organised. Hold your horses a second, because we need to look at the topic stock a little bit.
Hello and welcome to the Scrambled.
Hey, it's my intro.
Yeah, it's your turn to do the intro.
I'm assuming the first two kind of couple together, do they?
Yeah, they do a little bit.
Never-ending nightmare of bad tech support, AI replies, no escape, Microsoft, Adobe, etc. I feel like that feels like the kind of sentence that was written in a moment of complete rage. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, and I forget what specifically had happened. Oh, I got it.
Okay, cool.
I got it.
Okay, would you like me to tee into that one?
Yeah, we can tee into that one. It's not a very long one.
Hello and welcome back to the Scrambled Checksum podcast. My name is Ethan, and as per usual, I am joined by my wonderful co-host and friend, mentor, etc., Kieran. How the devil are you?
Hello, I'm glad I didn't chime in earlier there, because as soon as you said I'm Ethan, I was going to jump in with no, I'm Kieran, like we were doing one of those like cringy adverts.
That would have been an excellent segue into the topic that we said we were going to leave till last.
That's why I didn't do it.
But speaking of topics that we were going to segue into, this podcast has probably gone on too long, really, considering our virtually non-existent listener base. And you could say that it has been a bit of a never-ending nightmare, especially when your co-host forgets to upload their clips to the cloud storage platform that we use, and you only notice when you go to edit it late on a Sunday when you've only got a week until the episode airs, and then by the time they've been uploaded you've run out of time to edit them that weekend, and then you have a really long work week. But luckily you managed to finish early on a Friday due to doing overtime earlier in the week, and then you finish early on that Friday and are able to smash out an edit before the recording of Hypothetically episode 39 of the podcast. Not that that's exactly what happened to me in the last week.
That was a really vivid story, actually. It's almost like that happened.
Speaking of nightmares, I feel like there's been some other nightmares that have happened in the last, actually, to be fair, probably last 4 weeks, because I believe we just missed this topic off last week because we ran out of ran out of time.
There was, but the thing about nightmares is that they didn't happen. So that's kind of reassuring about them, kind of like your hypothetical scenario.
Yes, I mean,
forgetting to upload
you wake up and you're like, oh, thank God.
Thank goodness, my co-host Kieran's really organised.
Does that mean I'm going to wake up and I actually haven't edited the episode yet? Yeah, and then the real nightmare begins because I have to rush edit it the day before it goes out, which is the latest I've ever been on editing an episode.
The real nightmare will be the day after it went out, and then I text you, I'm like, hey dude, did you edit that episode? And you'll be like, oh yeah, you were late uploading the footage, remember? I scrambled and got it done at the last minute. And I was like, no, I uploaded the footage immediately after we stopped recording. You just dreamed all that. I thought you'd made that up for an intro.
Oh no.
You actually haven't edited it.
Oh no. Oh no.
But speaking of other nightmares that you can't wake up from, I'd had a horrible situation with bad tech support, and I assume that most people can relate. And I'm not bashing anyone who does tech support, because I think that good quality tech support is a very underrated skill, and I have a lot of respect for people who deliver good tech support. It's like there's no better experience in getting good tech support, right? You contact a company, you have a specific question, and they're like, oh, hey, here's the exact answer to your specific query. And it's like, oh my God, this was a dream.
I feel like it's one of those things where you can't really, well, you can train it, but I feel like companies don't train it. So you just kind of get lucky with getting someone who's just like overly dedicated.
And then you treasure them forever. You're like, anytime you come back on, you're like, oh, can I speak to Ethan? I need to speak to Ethan about this.
I was going to say, to be fair, I feel like it's probably people like you and me, without tooting our own horns, who give way more to the jobs that we inhabit than we probably should based on how much we're paid. I feel like that's the kind of person.
Being obsessed. it's like the thing of being obsessed with finding out like a way for them to still be able to do something, even if they probably shouldn't do what they're trying to do.
Now, I don't like to use the word obsession. I prefer passion.
Yeah, the passion.
Caring.
Yeah, the caring.
Yeah.
Which is sadly lacking in a lot of instances that you contact tech support. And the thing that I'd found a specific piss off about was I'd had to raise a tech support query with a couple of places, some tech support, some customer service recently. and they were all bad. They were all bad in their own way.
Do you care to name and shame?
Yeah, so Microsoft's was not the best.
Shocker.
Yeah, it was shocker. Google's was even worse.
I'm amazed Google even has tech support. I'm not going to lie.
They have tech support if you pay for things.
Yeah.
It's still not good tech support. So Google tech support. I'll cover Microsoft first because theirs wasn't as bad. So their sin of tech support was that they would send me they wouldn't read what my issue was, even though I included the specific error message, and the error message tip on their website was contact support about this.
For fuck's sake.
So I contacted support and said, here's the error message. And they basically replied and said oh, can you try a bunch of these things that are completely unrelated? And I was like, no, that's a waste of time. Obviously I didn't say that. I just lied and said I'd done them and they didn't work. So that took longer than it should. That was a little bit annoying. Escalating up there, Google was a good one because their classic thing is that they have automated systems for everything. Yeah. And then when they fuck up and you contact them and say, hey, the automated system is not doing what it should do, they're like, oh, their response was on the live chat oh, well, sometimes it doesn't always work properly. Just leave it a few days. And I was like, wait.
What if I don't have a few days?
Yeah, and I was also like, wait, what's going to happen in a few days? What, does the automated system just keep repeating itself over and over again after it's
forever and ever more? In the heat death of the universe, there'll just be a Google server just been stuck in a loop.
Yeah, is it just a case of what possible automated system has a functionality where it'll then go back and then revisit previous things again after so then the first support rep said wait 3 days, the next one said wait 5 days, and then the one after that said wait 2 days. So I'm like, wait, these aren't even consistent. What are you?
Does that mean you have to wait 10 days?
No, it was I'd waited the first time. It was this I'd waited each time.
I think that's what they're trying to tell you. They're trying to break it in easily for you. So you have to add up all the estimations, and then that's your estimation.
It was just so infuriating because it was they were just telling me to wait, but I'm like, what's going to happen? And I would say what would happen if it doesn't work? And they're like, oh no, it'll be fine. Just wait 4 days. But and it's so frustrating because there is no.
It's a real cop out, isn't it?
It's such a cop out because there's no system that's going to revisit that and automatically fix it. It needs intervention.
Yeah.
But they can't do the intervention. I think it's that the support agents can't do anything, so they just get told. So then
this
you feel
is the
bad.
thing. It's not that this is the kind of thing you expect from say back when I worked in tech support, I didn't work for the likes of Microsoft or any of those. So I was providing third party tech support, and so I feel in that scenario there were genuinely. A phrase I used to like to use when people ask me, oh, why is that? And I'd just say, because Microsoft. Because that's basically, that's the only answer you can really give, because it's basically Microsoft have designed a shit piece of software, and unfortunately we have to use it, and there is literally nothing I can do. This isn't a configuration problem. This isn't a hardware problem. This is the software is a buggy piece of shit, and there is fuck all I can do about that.
It's like when people would complain about a certain piece of Microsoft software that I'll leave it up to you if you want to name it or not, but it's it's slow. And they're like, oh, this is running slow today.
What, Project 2003? Oh, no. I know. Oh, no. I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah. And everyone would be
I can't think of why we wouldn't. Yeah, Microsoft Dynamics 365.
Yeah, so people would be like, oh, Dynamics is slow. And it's Dynamics is running slow today. Can you look at it? And I always felt really sorry for you when that happened, because
there was literally nothing we could do about it.
No, it's just slow. It's slow for everyone that uses it in the whole world.
Yeah,
I think some days it's slower than others.
I think it was that was a combination of issues. I think also the company we worked for had paid to develop the specific database and everything within Dynamics had not really optimized it very well. I think that was
probably a bit of both.
I think I think that was.
You can't do anything about that because it's not your
also,
software.
Equally, a reason why that was is because too many cooks spoil the broth and everything, and the people who were requesting features didn't have any understanding of the system that was actually behind it, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, the usual,
system was slow.
Yeah,
just any tech project.
Yeah. It's just like, blame it on, it's IT's fault. Blame it on them.
Yeah, that's a problem. But yeah, this one with Google was just infuriating because it's like, what do you do in that scenario? Because you're dealing with like level 1 support. And
they should be able to, like, you would expect them to be, if they work for the company that made the software, you would expect them to be able to do more than just tell you, wait a few days. I feel like that's a reasonable expectation.
It's infuriating because there's these poor people and you know they're not getting paid fairly. And like, you know that they're incentivized to close these tickets off like as fast as possible. So they just want to fob you off. And then it's like, what do you do if they're told not to solve your problem? Because how do you get escalated? It's by being a dick, but then you feel awful doing that. Like I can't bring myself to like.
I think the thing that always concerns me is if there's like a penalty for cases getting escalated or something. That's
exactly.
And then it's like you say, it's like, but equally, I pay for this product and it's not working, and I need help, please. And like, what choice do you have? Because it's like, where else are you gonna go?
Yeah, it's like when I'm on the thing with Google, I can see there's like a message at the top that says like this chat's being translated. So I know they're not in this country. Oh, so then I'm starting to think like, where they're 24/7 as well. So I'm like, where the hell are these poor people? Like,
that's really bad, actually.
Yeah, and like, what are they getting paid?
Like what?
And then
what? Like, that is just. I mean, that probably indicates that they are in some country where they can get away with paying them fuck all for a start. So from an ethical perspective, that's fucking awful.
For Google, especially.
Yeah. It's not exactly like they don't have the coin. And equally, I feel like explaining a technical problem to someone over text chat with no ability to send screenshots or screen sharing and etc. is hard enough when you've got two people who actually understand technically what's going on to some degree. Let alone when it's someone who's probably had basic training who isn't even reading the original text you wrote.
No, they're reading
a translation, which may or may not be accurate and probably doesn't actually represent fully what you actually wrote in the first place. It's like, so by the time they've even read it, probably like 1% of what you actually intended to get across has got through. And then they are already working from a limited set of knowledge as it is.
And access, probably.
Yeah.
And it's like any screenshots I send are going to be in English as well. And like, I assume they don't get auto-translated with character recognition. So it's like...
Surely they must have like Google Lens implemented in some way, surely.
Possibly, actually. And then they translate the screenshot. But then like...
Google Lens, it is like...
it's really clever.
It's amazing, that is.
That's the thing they can build.
I've actually been using Circle to search and all that stuff on my Pixel because it's like I know that it's spying on me, but it is genuinely so fucking useful.
It's like they can build all these fucking amazing products, and it's just like infuriating that they've got the poor tech support, like with no access to help with anything. Like you said with the lens stuff, I had to search for a photo on my phone the other day, so I searched cat, and like. Some of the matches it came up with, I was like, hang on a minute. I was like, oh, look at this. It's screwed up on this one. And then I noticed in the background of the photo, there was a book that had a cat on the cover.
Yeah. It's fucking
and I was
crazy,
like, it's like so impressive. But
then meanwhile, Microsoft have the same thing. And it's like you literally the first photo that you can see at the top of your feed in OneDrive could be of a car. And you type in car and it's like, oh, sorry, I can't find can't find any photos of cars. Oh, for fuck's sake, Microsoft.
Do you think that does anything, or do you think will it be in Microsoft they just have it like return a random photo every now and again? Yeah, like here are all the photos with cars in it.
So it doesn't even try. It's just like
it's just like no matches found. No, I can't do it.
Yeah.
So that was one half of my never-ending nightmare anyway. So I feel for all those tech support people. The other half was the AI replies, which was a scenario I had where I'd ordered a lampshade. And I think they were AI replies anyway, because they were kind of weird. And they sent me the wrong color. So I emailed them and I said, hey, I've got the wrong color. They asked me for a photo of it, which is fair enough. I guess they want to make sure that I'm not just like confused about the color.
So you took a photo of the one that was actually the right color, but you photoshopped it to be a differand color.
Yeah, exactly.
Just because you changed your mind about which one you wanted.
Yeah, or I wanted the second one for free.
Yeah.
And that was fine. That worked really well. Sent them the photo. They were like, oh, we sent you a replacement. The problem started when it got a little bit more complicated than that, because the replacement arrived and it was the right color, but it was damaged.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
And normally I don't mind damage on a product. Like, it's fine. It happens.
Was it delivered by Jim Carrey?
if that would have made up for it, to be fair. Somebody, no, you do it better than me. I was going to screw that up.
Somebody stop me!
There you go. I'd have just done I'd have just been like, somebody stop me.
Yeah, somebody, please.
Somebody,
stop me.
somebody, please.
Somebody, please stop me.
But yeah, so the second one arrived, and I don't normally mind damage, but it was broken in a way that it wasn't usable as a lampshade anymore. So unless you wanted to like fill in the bottom and use it as like a bowl for chips, it was kind of
oh dear.
It was kind of pointless. That was when the problems.
Like, chips as in British chips.
No, chips as in Doritos.
Ah, okay. Sorry,
like chips and dip.
Sorry, language barrier here. Sorry,
what would you call them? I guess nachos.
They're crisps, aren't they?
Well, they're not. Like a Dorito's not a crisp.
Yeah, but they go into the general crisp.
I wouldn't call a Dorito a crisp. I would call them a nacho or a chip. No, I'd let us know in the comments if Doritos are crisp. I wouldn't call a Dorito a crisp.
I feel like as a Britishism, they fall into the like Monster Munch, for example. I mean, I know they're not crisps and they're not like deep fried thin wafers slices of potato, but like they fall into the same category.
I don't know about that. Like I wouldn't call
a bag of Doritos.
I wouldn't call a Pringle a crisp.
Huh.
They're their own thing.
Maybe we finally have something to put in the poll section when we upload this to Anchor. Sorry, Spotify for podcasters. Let us know. Yeah. If I remember.
Let us know. Let us know if you call a Dorito a crisp. Yeah. I wouldn't. Anyway.
Asking the real questions.
Lampshade was completely fuckered. Maybe we'll auction it off as the winner of the poll. But like, that was when the problem started, because I think it was an AI that was replying, or they had like canned responses. So I emailed and I was like, oh, hey, you sent me a replacement one. I basically gave them the full rundown. And I was like, oh, this one came damaged. And they were like, oh, we're really sorry to hear that. Please give us 3 days to investigate this for you. Which is like kind of like giving me flashbacks already to the Google scenario.
Yeah.
And then they were like, oh, we're sorry to hear that. Please can you provide photos? So I did, and they were like, oh, we're sorry to hear that. Please give us 3 days. And then I'd like chase it up and be like, hey, have you got anywhere with that? And they were like, hey, we're sorry to hear that you've been waiting for a response. Please give us 3 days. And then like 3 days will pass, and I chase it up again. And like I was like, hang on, I'm stuck in a loop.
Is it a self-healing lampshade? Maybe they'd like say, oh,
they were hoping that over time
days, it'll fix itself.
Like the Google systems, it would revisit.
Yeah. It'll reboot, and the lampshade will be okay.
Yeah, like when you delete a file and sometimes it'll come back.
Yeah, when you accidentally Control Z in File Explorer and then everything goes wrong forever.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, when you're editing a photo and you remove something from the photo and then you save it, but then sometimes it'll just revert how it was before, just by itself, because that's what computers are well known for doing that.
Oh yeah, all the time. I mean, I mean, the NFS file system has been like, it's not been around long, so they've not had time to optimize it for like.
Haven't ironed out, and they're quite like fickle. Anything. They're quite fickle computers. Some days the mood will just take them, and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm going to restore a bunch of deleted files," and they'll just be back again.
I mean, to be fair, I'm pretty sure there was a controversy with was it iPhones? I think. Oh yeah, it was. Do you remember? It was iCloud, wasn't it? Yeah, iCloud. When you updated to some version of iOS, suddenly all your I think it was like iOS 17 point something. A load of your deleted photos got restored from your iCloud that supposedly had been deleted from your iCloud.
Yeah, deleted forever.
Which was a bit of an oopsie for Apple, who are
that's a bit of a yikes.
Claim to not store any of your your data.
Yeah, that's gone forever when you delete it.
Yeah, apart from
it's kind of like
in Tim Cook's special collection.
I'll have that one for myself. He goes around and picks from everyone's recycle bins.
Yeah, he picks out of everyone's recycle bins, and then he does his plastodon smile whilst cackling and thinking about all the bad things he's going to do to Johnny Ive for abandoning Apple.
Spinning off his own company. And then he accidentally pressed Control Z one day and they all go back onto everyone's iClouds.
Actually, Control Z wouldn't do anything on a Mac.
Command Z.
Yeah. Or Super Z or Apple Z or...
I think Google did that once as well, didn't they? Where a bunch of people on Google Drive they did the opposite, where like a bunch of people on Google Drive started complaining that like random files had gone missing.
Yeah, I think Microsoft did a thing a little while ago where they added a feature that would delete the photos off your phone after they'd backed up to OneDrive. Apart from in my experience, it didn't always back them up first.
No, it just deleted them off your phone.
Yeah,
it's good how they've all kind of hit that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Accidentally deleted or restored your files.
Really reliable. It's
bad in both ways.
But anyway, so I was system.
I was stuck in a loop with this support, and I'm like, now I don't know what to do, because it's like, who do you turn to when the customer support's just sending you the same reply back and you're in a loop? Like, what do you do? Because you can't get it escalated because you get the same reply every time.
I think the next natural step is to write an angry X.
Yeah.
Or
and
tweet.
then
What the fuck do you call a post on X anymore?
I think it's still tweet.
Is it?
I think that's what the button says. They might have changed it to post.
That sounds just about clunky enough to be an Elon Musk product, but
it's something that's not good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, what do you... Anyway, I was stuck in this loop of like emailing them, asking them what was happening, and they would just tell me to wait 3 days. Eventually then they were like, oh, we're sorry to hear this. Please send us photos. And I was like, wait, but I've already sent the photos. They've just... I'm still in the loop. I'm not free. So anyway, I send them the same photos actually, because I made a point of going and finding them in the thread, and it had like links to the photos on their like ticket server.
Yeah.
So I went and just reposted, because I'm like, I don't think I can got them on my phone anymore. So I went and reposted the same links to them again and was like, here are the photos. Funny how they're all links that are to your own ticketing system, right? I didn't actually say that.
You should have just sent them this GIF that I've just posted in.
Oh yeah,
Mr. Bean flipping people off in the back of my car.
See, the thing is, I know my GIF game is quite weak, so I'd have probably fucked it up, and they'd have ended up like, I'm sorry, please wait 3 days. Anyway, they finally, then they were like, oh, give us a product code from the box. And then I was like, oh no, they think they've sent it the wrong color again, don't they?
Yeah.
And then I was worried they were going to send it wrong again. Anyway, it got sorted, but it took a month.
Oh, Jesus.
Of me going, because I was waiting 3 days every time. So before I knew it, it was like 3 weeks have passed. Anyway.
At least it's been sorted before you actually move into your new house, though. I'm assuming it's for your new house.
It is, yeah. It's arrived, and now I have 3. Now, by the magic of buying 3 of them.
Oh, nice.
I have
one that's the wrong color, one that's broken.
Yeah, one wrong color, one broken, and one right.
Oh, nice.
Through the magic of buying 3 of them, I can show you my broken one, my wrong color one, and the right one.
Yes.
But I think that I have to say, I think the worst customer experience I ever had was with the Adobe Corporation.
That does not surprise me. Although I struggle to see how it's going to get worse than your experience so far. But
I don't know if you recall this one, but it was with the it was in our previous job, and I was trying to use Creative Cloud as our image repository.
Oh, yes. I remember because
people would constantly email me and ask me for photos of things that they needed. Not like that sounds really that sounds kind of sordid. It wasn't.
Kieran, if I slip you a quick 50, can I?
I didn't work as like a paparazzi or anything.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, I need photos of Harry and Meghan.
Yeah.
Give me photos of Jeff Bezos in a compromising position.
I mean, I'd pay good money for that.
Well, exactly. Maybe I could start that up as a side gig, but no, it wasn't anything sordid. It'd be like photos of things that they would need to put into like documents they were curating. So it was like a portfolio type photo, I guess.
But that method subsequently always led to there being duplicates of photos all over our storage.
Yep.
Just
so people would save them in their downloads folder. They put them in the Word document, whatever. They'd save them to their desktop or their downloads folder.
And then we'd have the same photo saved in a million places on the server.
Because they wouldn't bother deleting it, or they'd download, and then they'd ask for it again in a month, and then download the same photo, but they wouldn't obviously ever delete the old ones. They'd end up with like image _ 512 brackets 15 or something, because they had so many versions of it. And then times this by about 20 people doing this same thing, and you end up with the most bloated download and desktops you've ever seen.
Yeah. It got pretty bad. I'm not going to lie. It was really bad.
It was absurd. Like you'd go over to their desk, and you'd see their downloads folder at desktop and you would weep.
Yeah.
Because you just see the amount of... I've never seen so many brackets after file names.
I was mostly crying because I knew what my manager was going to say if he found out.
And then I copped some of the blame for it.
Yeah, think of the storage.
Think of the storage.
The poor hard drive slamming their read-write heads across the...
Needlessly,
across the
just downloading the same image over and over and over again.
These poor hard drives.
Anyway, so I was tired of doing that. So... But the issue was I couldn't just roll out Creative Cloud because not everyone had an Adobe subscription. And as soon as I said the word Adobe, a voice would come from behind me. a booming authoritative voice.
Yeah, that's exactly the word I was going to use, authoritative.
I would say the word Adobe, and before I could even finish my sentence, I'd just hear like, no. No. It's like, yeah, I'm not proposing. No, I'm like, no, but if you'll just, it's free. And I'm not proposing anyone actually has a paid subscription. No. Anyway.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I eventually rolled out. So I went with Creative Cloud because it had a Microsoft Office integration that allowed you for free, and it allowed you to see like an add-on in your like Microsoft Word or whatever that people were using. And they could still use it like Creative Cloud, and the storage for the Creative Cloud storage would come out of like the paid subscription that you had. So I had like a paid subscription. So I had I think a terabyte at the time, which was plenty for the amount of images we had.
Yeah, so it works kind of like sharing something from most cloud storage providers, isn't it? Where
exactly.
You can share it with someone. They just have to have a free account to access it, as long as you've got.
Yeah, the storage holder is the one with the paid account. So as long as you got one of those, which we did. So they could then go in like Microsoft Word, they could open up a little extension, it was easy for them to use, they could search the file name, and they could just click and drag it into their documents. They wouldn't be downloading all the files again and again and again. The storage would be off of our infrastructure because it would be hosted by Adobe.
Yeah.
And it means that if I added new photos to it, everyone got shared in it without having to have access to like a separate shared drive that you have to dig through.
Yeah.
So I thought it was quite an elegant solution. But the problem was, it didn't work for every user. So for some users, they would go to open up the extension, even though it was installed properly and stuff, and it would just hang. And troubleshooting this was an absolute nightmare because it was down to like...
Not an Adobe and Microsoft product working together being a nightmare to trouble... What? No way, I don't believe you.
It's insane, right? Who would have thought it?
Yeah. They're both companies famous for having software that never goes wrong and works flawlessly every time.
And always gives you like an error message.
Yeah, that's really useful. Yeah.
Yeah, and in this case, I had no error message, so that was a terrible start. It was just a blank, grey panel where the add-on should load in. And then because it's a Microsoft product it's integrating with, those grey panels, like at one point, it was an Internet Explorer integration in like the Microsoft Office suite that powered them.
Oh God!
So you had to write like some weird, like making them was kind of a ball ache. So you had to write them as some kind of weird like Internet Explorer type add-on thing to go into Microsoft Word. And then eventually I think they updated it to use Edge, but that was kind of like a janky process as well. It was like a classic Microsoft thing where it's like some real janky way that you can, it was like people having their own VB scripts in Excel.
Yeah.
It was like that level of jank. So it was kind of like, that was the product that I had. There was no error message. It wasn't for all users. It was something to do with like either Windows version or Microsoft 365 version. Anyway, I tried to contact Adobe, who initially fobbed me off to Microsoft. That was unsurprising.
Yeah.
And then I kind of like forced the issue. But the problem was they didn't want to support free users. So I had to borrow someone who was having the problem's laptop and pretend it was me with the paid account who was having the problem. Otherwise, they wouldn't even speak to me.
For fuck's sake.
So I had to like log into my Adobe account to replicate the issue. And then they were like, "Oh, well, we don't really support this product." I'm like, "Come on, guys, why do you release it then? You don't release a product that you have no desire to like have any kind of support for whatsoever." It's like, I pay for Adobe, you need a paid like thing to be able to use this.
And even though we only paid for one license, it was still fucking expensive.
Yeah, it's still expensive as hell. So like
hundreds a year.
As far as they knew, it was me that was having the issue as well with my one license that was hundreds and hundreds a year. Like, you put it on your website as a selling point for Creative Cloud. Support the frickin' app. Anyway, I ended up getting escalated to a phone call from a guy in like America.
Oh, nice.
Which was insane. Although annoyingly, he was like, "Oh yeah, I can replicate it, but we're not going to fix it." Basically, they were like, "Oh yeah, we don't do any support for this."
Oh,
it's like you can't
nice.
just decide. Can you imagine? It's like if you sold a physical product, you were like, "Yeah, I know you bought that product, but
yeah, unfortunately, our hands are tied."
Yeah. It's like imagine if you bought your like smartphone and you were like, "Oh, it doesn't work when I try and make a phone call with it."
Yeah.
And then they were like, "Oh, well, we don't actually support that feature. We just include it, but we don't support you making phone calls with your phone."
Yeah.
If it does everything else, we don't support that.
Yeah.
But that only happens in software, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, my issue was not resolved.
Terrible.
And that's why I've turned into my own worst nightmare.
Yeah. Segue into the next topic. So seamless.
Ethan, you know me quite well. You know me. You used to know me, in fact, as the Adobe boy.
Yeah. And
you've heard me called the Adobe boy.
Yeah, and before that, it was you were shilling for Amazon Prime, I believe, despite having never used it.
It was concurrent shilling.
He even used to have a T-shirt. In fact, you probably still do have a T-shirt that has the Prime logo on it that I believe you had custom printed.
Yeah, I made it. Yeah, I'm not paying Amazon any money for it. I made it myself. I actually on a work night out once I wore that T-shirt and someone in a club like shouted out to me like Amazon Prime.
Yeah, because that's what you had the nickname Boy Prime, didn't you? For
Boy Prime, yeah, exactly. That was my nickname. And also I think that was the same. It was someone's leaving do. I think that was the same night someone was clowning on me for it.
Ah. Well, there you go.
Who'd like gone to this work event and they were like, "Oh, is that Amazon? That's stupid."
It might have been me, to be fair. Sounds like
it wasn't you. It wasn't you. I remember. It wasn't you. I remember exactly who it was. Anyway, I was shilling for Adobe and Amazon
recording.
I was shilling from Hermes as well before they were called Every.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was shilling for Adobe at the time, and not paid shilling, by the way, just free uncredited shilling.
Yeah.
But so you will find this hard to believe, Ethan, but so at my current job, we needed to purchase some design software.
Okay.
And the user had requested Adobe Suite, and I spoke up against it.
Oh. Okay.
I said don't.
What did you recommend instead?
I said go with Affinity.
Oh, okay.
Again, I feel like I'm staying true to my shilling because I've never used Affinity.
Yeah.
Any of the suite. But
so that's the Kieran guarantee.
That's the way. That's the Kieran way. Recommend products extremely highly.
Recommend products extremely highly and let the other person discover whether it's actually worth it or not before you try it. Let them do all the legwork.
Yeah, let them. It's if I'm curious about a product, I'll recommend it to the skies, and then when they try it and tell me it's bad, then I'll be like, oh,
that's really weird.
Oh, I won't use that. They were like, oh, what was your experience like with that? I've never used it.
But somehow you managed to have enough awkward charisma that people never learn the lesson and they'll carry on listening to you.
I think it's because I believe in the product so much.
Yeah. You're very convincing. Yeah.
I just believe in them so much.
Yeah.
So I recommended Affinity actually.
Okay.
Which I'm sure sounds surprising, and I think we're gonna go for it because it's a one-off, way cheaper.
Okay.
And
what did they actually include in their suite? Because it's not a full Adobe replacement, is it?
It's not quite. They've got, from what I could tell it's hard to tell from the names, but they've got like a Photoshop clone.
Yeah, I think that's like the main one, right?
Yeah, and because it used to be Corel. I didn't realize this until after I'd recommended it.
Yeah, they bought. I think didn't they buy? Because I can't remember what they did. Wasn't Affinity originally like color grading or something, and then they bought?
That's DaVinci.
Okay, yeah, Affinity had like some of the features, didn't they? And then they bought Corel.
They bought Corel. which I remember hearing about, or Coral as some people call it.
Coral.
So I remember it from that. I didn't realize it was that. It makes sense because I did think it was weird that they developed all these big programs, like seemingly out of nowhere. But I never really gave it much thought. And then I found out that they bought Corel. So they've got the Photoshop one. They've got, which I think is meant to be like, it's not like GIMP. It's like a credible Photoshop replacement.
Excuse me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm a GIMP
It's
stan
even
over here.
more full-featured than GIMP.
Oh, wow.
If you can believe
fair enough,
that.
Yeah. Do you know there's a new version of GIMP coming out? GIMP 3 is currently in beta testing.
Is it like closer to Photoshop now?
In some ways.
The thing is,
they are getting rid of some stuff. I can't remember exactly. I watched a video on it, and they are getting rid of some stuff and adopting some flows from Photoshop that make way more sense than the current ones. Oh, like non-destructive filters.
Oh my God.
Finally. That's the main one, to be honest. That's the main one. And
the one that
they're
always...
also getting rid of floating layers. So
thank God. Yeah, that got me every time.
But some legacy features are still going to use it, but most features won't anymore.
I never understood the floating layers.
No.
It's like you paste something in and it's like, then you have to do another keyboard shortcut immediately.
No one understands it, Kieran. No one.
The thing is, I don't
even understand what purpose it serves.
The thing is, I guarantee if you go on the forums, there'll be people complaining about floating layers going away because it's their workflow.
Yeah, but it doesn't even make sense because it doesn't actually provide any additional functionality. It's, as far as I can tell, it's just another step between. It just
gets in the way,
putting it into it, yeah.
Because you paste it and you're like, okay, good, I've added it because it's even called a floating layer. So you're like, oh, I've added it as a new layer.
Yeah.
But then you go and like try and do something and you're like, oh, I'm stuck.
Yeah, and then you either anchor it to an existing layer or you go to a new layer. Even if you'd selected a layer that's literally you created before.
Yeah.
Why?
There was a keyboard shortcut that was like Control-Alt-H or something like that I remember having to do. That was like, it was when you had a floating layer and it would move it to its own layer.
Yeah.
Like a layer you could actually use.
You can do. But anyway, we digress.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a credible Photoshop alternative from what I understand. I'm recommending it as one regardless.
Still doesn't run on Linux though, I don't think.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure
we don't have any Linux users, so we're all good in that respect.
Yeah, you're all bunch of noobs.
We had a desired Mac user, but that was quickly shot down when they sent through the machine that they were looking at speccing up.
Oh no, was it a Mac Pro by any chance?
Yeah.
Worthless.
Way overkill for what they needed.
Affinity Serif, is that it?
I think so.
Affinity.serif.com.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I forget what the names of all of the different like programs within the suite are.
Yeah, it's not available on Linux. It's available on Mac, Windows, and iPad.
It's kind of cool though because you can use it on like it's either unlimited devices or it's a lot of devices like concurrently.
Yeah.
So if you had like 6 iPads, you could use it on all of them, or more realistically, you would buy the license for one of them and then share it among.
Why have
6
a real
people?
Computer when you could waste all your money on 6 iPads?
Yeah.
Why buy a house when you could buy 6 iPads?
Why? Whoa, 6? Where are you buying a house? London.
True. Yeah. Wait,
anyway.
why buy a house when you could buy an iPad?
Yeah, exactly.
We're talking iPad Pros here. We're not
why
the
buy a house
regular
when you could buy
iPad
the
is
Apple?
actually genuinely quite affordable in my opinion. So
yeah. Why buy a house when you could buy an Apple Vision Pro?
Oh Christ.
But like,
there's another tangent I could go off on here. Jesus, let's get to the point anyway.
Yeah. So they've got that. They've got. I think they've got an Illustrator clone. I think.
Yeah,
that one I'll be
yeah.
That one I'll be interested to see because I tried Inkscape.
It says at the top. It says Designer, Photo, Publisher. Those are
yes,
the 3
I believe
ones that they've got.
Designer is the Illustrator clone.
Yeah.
Photo is obviously the Photoshop one, and then Publisher is the InDesign clone.
Yeah.
Which again, I've heard really good things about Publisher. I'd be interested to see it because I've used to use InDesign a lot.
I feel like I've heard of Publisher. Yeah, it says Publisher 2.
It probably used to be like a Corel package, and they probably all did, to be fair.
I swear Microsoft used to have a piece of software called Publisher.
Oh, they still do. Yeah, it's absolute trash. It was like Microsoft Word for making like horrible like publishing.
Yeah.
It was horrendous. It was like barely better than Microsoft Word. Whenever I saw a publisher file, it would fill me with dread.
Microsoft Word's a low bar in my opinion. Jesus.
Yeah.
What a pile of jank when it comes formatting Word documents. What an absolute fucking joke. How is it so bad still?
With images is horrific.
Yeah. It's so bad.
It's one of the worst programs for it in the world.
I think that was like 90% of why I hated writing essays for college and stuff.
Yeah, you press enter on page 10 and then you scroll back to the beginning of the document and all of your images are fucked up from page 1.
Yeah, or you're on page 9 and you drag an image in and it doesn't appear, and then you scroll up and it's like just inserted it in some random place halfway up the document, and then it won't let you move it.
It's messed up the image formatting before and after it.
Yeah.
So then you delete it and then the formatting's still fucked up.
Yeah, and then you try and move the cursor to next to it to move it around, and it won't let you put the cursor there, or it does put the cursor there, but it's invisible, so you can't tell. Oh!
You have to select one of the really confusingly named options. So you've got like through, float.
I still have absolutely no idea what half of them do. I just clicked until one of them works. That was basically always my strategy.
Yeah, you find the default one never worked.
Yeah. Literally
because it's like you drag an image in.
Never once had that be the option that was the right one.
No, every time I've dragged an image into Microsoft Word, it's never formatted like how I want it to, and I've always had to go into that context menu and change the image layout.
The thing that this is the thing that pisses me off. You know, when occasionally you want to just quickly print 2 photos on one piece of paper, for example.
Yeah.
And so you drag one in, but it's too big for the native DPI or PPI or whatever you want to call it on Microsoft Word. So it takes up more than one page, and then you add this. You drag that to be the right size, and then you add another one in below it, but it puts it on the next page because it's too big. And then as you drag it to be the right size to fit on the other side, suddenly the first image you add snaps to the second page.
Yeah, I've had that.
Why?
And because you've got no text.
But there's nothing on the first page because of how it's formatting it. There's not even like a page break or something on there, so you can't backspace it to get it back. It's just like, why have you even done?
Yeah, because there's no text on the page. There's nothing to like erase. You're just like,
my life. Just oh my god, why?
Yeah, it's universally horrible. Like the amount of like. Honestly, that's giving me flashbacks to like that role, because the amount of like bad Word documents with photos just like all over the place.
It's even worse when someone sent you it as a PDF and then you have to convert it back to Word. And
or it's like the other bugbear of mine is having like random like line breaks in places with a completely different font size.
Yeah.
So you'll type a paragraph out and you'll have pasted some text in. Even if you paste it as plain text, I feel like you still sometimes get this problem. And the line spacing on that text will be different from the rest of your text.
Yeah.
And then you'll fix it, but then you'll have like a random line in the middle that's stuck on that like wrong line spacing.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Honestly, the first time you use InDesign and like you put an image in and you can like choose how the text flows around it and add like the exact amount of padding you want to. It's a joy. I really like InDesign.
I feel stressed just talking about this.
Yeah, it gets the blood pressure up, doesn't it?
Really does.
I find that too. Honestly, if you haven't, I was going to recommend InDesign. However, now I'm thinking I might recommend Affinity because it's a one-time. You'll love this. It's a one-time purchase.
I had heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, and you get updates as well, I believe. So it's like the old CS6, but better.
Yeah, I think
you get the updates.
Don't they work on it? I think they do introduce new versions. So you get the like, for example, you buy version 2, you get the 2 updates, but then if they release version 3, then it's a new license.
I'm going to assume they have to do it that way to keep the development going.
I'm not saying that. That's absolutely fine. I've got no problem with that. I think that's how it should be done.
Yeah, it's like how Adobe used to do it, except they were like mega expensive with it. Like I remember the CS suite updates used to be mega expensive.
Yes, I remember that from when I definitely paid for all of them.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure you do. When you bought CS6, I bet you were like, "Geez, this is expensive."
Yeah, that's why you
bought.
But my 12-year-old self definitely paid all his pocket money for that.
Yeah, you were saving up for years, I bet, to buy the full suite. Obviously,
from when I was born.
Yeah, to have like Premiere, After Effects, Illustrator, InDesign, Photoshop.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's really good, and I've recommended it at work. And I will caveat that by saying that said person is not super experienced with Adobe, so it's not like, because I get it, like if someone was an Adobe user, it's a hard habit to.
You're doing God's work. You are basically, they're going to learn how to do everything on Affinity, and then when they go to their next job, they're going to ask for Affinity, and this is how they take over.
Because I would get it, like I would completely understand if someone came in and had like 5 years experience using Adobe. It would be kind of a tough ask to tell them to use
It'd be
Affinity.
kind of a joke, right, if for like the first 2 or 3 months you had to use GIMP to do it,
right?
But that would never happen in a professional medium-sized business, hypothetically.
If someone joined a business, for example, and made it clear for a design-led role.
And they hadn't actually figured out what software they were going to need, and they're like, "Oh, well, we'll just ask him on the first day." But then there's a load of issues with like signing off the budget to actually get the licensing and all that stuff, and they hypothetically leave it to a humble IT apprentice to pick out all the hardware that they're going to need, despite not actually being qualified to do so in any way.
And also having it be the case where they have no like existing users on the software, so said IT individual has to go and like figure out how to run it for business.
Yeah.
Because they've not got like an existing contract with Adobe.
But hypothetically, if that were to happen, I imagine between the designer and the young IT apprentice would flourish a blossoming and beautiful friendship.
Exactly, as they picked out camera hardware
and set up phones and discovered that they had the same nerdy interests. Exactly. Simpler times.
They start a podcast together, and it'll be just wonderful.
Just wonderful.
But yeah, that was my point there. Can you believe that I've recommended against Adobe?
I can actually. I think it's been a begrudging.
Yeah, to be fair, I think most people who work with Adobe, especially in the like Creative Cloud era, have no fondness for Adobe.
Yeah, most people, they do it because they have to, not because they want to.
Yeah, it's like a horrible love. You used to see it whenever I'd have a problem with an Adobe update, even though I used to wait like a month before I'd update to major versions because they would always have problems. And I go on the forums, the amount of people are like, I wish I hate this. I wish I didn't have, but they're like, they have to keep going back.
Yeah.
It's like how I don't imagine that a drug addict necessarily.
The thing is, there is nothing that can replace the full suite.
No, there isn't. And what sucks is that I think even the replacements, like even Affinity, there's some real like quality of life stuff in Photoshop with like content aware fill, especially with how good that's gotten, and like the smart select and things for doing masking, where if you had to do a lot of that, you'd save so much time using those tools. And then once you get used to them, you don't like, I would not want to necessarily give up content aware fill if that wasn't available.
I feel like that must be coming though to Affinity. There's no way that isn't. Because I mean, you can even do that. Like even iPhones have finally caught up to being able to do that now.
They may even have it. I've not really looked into it because it's not like the AI stuff. I can. It's really impressive sometimes. Not necessarily in image creation, but in like tidying stuff up.
Yeah.
So like the object removal and things, it's really really well done.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
I could live without that because you could do it other ways. So yeah, I think what they maybe need to do as Affinity is they need to tell us about all these features with some kind of a big ad campaign, you know?
I interrupted your segue. I was going to segue there as well.
Oh, are you going to do the same way?
Well, I was going to.
Yours might be better.
I can't remember what I was going to say now. It's gone. It's gone. It was genius, but it's gone, and it's all your fault.
It's gone. Yeah. So I interrupted your interruption.
Oh yeah.
Of my
Speaking of things that I could live without, that was it.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Tacky adverts on YouTube, and
tacky. I can't imagine an advert.
I don't know.
Well, as a YouTube
I don't
Premium
know
user, I
what to
can't
think
imagine
about
that
this
on YouTube at all.
So, I mean, we've discussed many a time about the adverts that seem very prevalent at the moment for fake mobile games.
Yes.
That technically aren't fake because they are mini games within the actual game, but they're not really. The ads are, at best, very disingenuous.
The ads don't represent the game in any way.
The vast majority of the game. Like, technically, the game that's in the ads in a lot of cases is a mini game within the games, and that's how they get away with it. But the gameplay is definitely not real. Like, just for but recently, I've started getting another one that looks very much like the adverts for Hero Wars, which is the main offender I've found. Which recently have upped their game. They've actually started getting like actual actors, it seems.
Well, that's the thing. And some of them do that, don't they?
There's like one that's like got this like musical theme tune. It's like Hero Wars. Every day I'll be, and then skip after 5 seconds.
The Hero Wars intro by Ethan.
Yeah, it's like this is like an actual like person who's like been like this advert's been directed, and the production value is actually quite good. And I'm just like, what even just what?
It's like the ones that have like really beautiful animation, right? They'll have like a CG section, and you're like, God, this looks like it could be for like World of Warcraft.
Yeah, but anyway, there's a new one on the block. Sorry. There's a new one on the block called Last War. Sensing a theme here.
Yeah.
And basically it starts with a gentleman who you may recognize from the hit TV show The Boys, playing the lead villain, Homelander, Anthony Starr.
Oh, I know who he is now. Yeah, you asked me before we started recording if I knew who he was, and I didn't. But he's the blonde guy, right?
Yeah.
He kind of swaggers around in The Boys. I've never watched The Boys, but I've seen like... I know
it's really good.
Is he the guy that lasered a baby? Spoiler alert.
Yes.
I assume that everyone knows that happened. I know that happened, and I've never seen an episode.
Yeah. But... he's kind of a messed up dude. Anyway,
Baby Laser comes on the scene.
Homelander, not Anthony Starr. Well, I mean, as far as I know, I don't know anything about Anthony Starr.
That was actually real footage of Anthony
It's
Starr.
actually a biopic, yeah. But anyway, so Anthony Starr stood there and there's this huge touchscreen, and he's like playing a game that looks very much like the Hero Wars kind of things. And this guy walked in and is like, "What are you doing? Don't you know that game's fake?" Which doesn't make sense for a start because he's actually playing it on a touchscreen. But
he's like, God, it is.
And then he's just like, it's called Last War, and it's going viral because it's like all the fake games, apart from they actually made it. And then I usually lose interest after that. But the thing is that I can't think. I Googled it, and I can't seem to find any information as to whether it's actually Anthony Starr or whether it's a deep fake.
That's got to be him on YouTube, right? Because YouTube is like, if that would have been on a website, I would think deep fake. But the fact that it's on YouTube, surely.
But like, why would he do it?
Well, they just like back a truck of money up to his house, I guess, and they'll do anything.
I don't know. It's just weird. Like something's
it does
off
seem
about
weirdly
it.
Like it could be a lookalike, maybe.
I know, because it sounds like him as well. Because that was the first thing that I thought. Because my first thought was like, oh, that sounds like that voice. He sounds familiar. Where do I know him from? And then I was like, oh no, yeah, it's the guy who plays Homelander. And then I realized, oh yeah, no, it is him, because like when he plays Homelander, his hair's dyed. Like he is blonde, but he's not like a bleached blonde like Homelander.
Yeah, he is incredibly blonde.
Yeah.
All I can think is, because I have seen there's been other mobile games in the past that have had celebrities do ads for them.
Yeah.
So it's not completely preposterous, right, that it would really be him. Because remember all the crypto ads as well, and they had massive celebrities doing them.
Yeah.
And they were all real. They just, like, paid them an absolute fortune. But, like, where's the money coming? Is the game's real, then?
Well, I don't know. I haven't downloaded it, obviously.
But, like, I assume it exists.
But all I get, like, when I Google it, is I just get the advert.
That's very strange, because I was then thinking, like, how cool would it be if we ever made like millions and millions of probably billions and billions from like a tech startup? How cool would it be to just run an ad that's like that, but then the game isn't actually real? So it would be like, you know how he's playing it on this giant tablet or whatever in the advert? If it was actually like, he was like, no, it is real. And they were like, no, Anthony, you're having a hallucination. And then he realizes, and it's just like a blank screen in front of him, and he's just like stabbing at it with his hand.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus, just like, I've not actually watched the full thing. Is
that how it goes? Is it really that he's just hallucinated the game all along?
Oh, actually, this is a different one. So this one, he isn't stood in front of a tablet. Oh, this is weird. No, it is definitely him.
Yeah, so it's either like surely they've not got the resource to make a deepfake that good.
No, I feel like
it's got to be him, right?
I feel like they've got him to do it because he plays Homelander. Yeah,
and I feel like a problem is that like a lot of the people,
that's why that's why I questioned it though, because I was like, surely Amazon wouldn't. There'd be something in his contract that would be like, he wouldn't be allowed.
Yeah,
to
I don't know how that works. Whether they're like they can do what they like, but that is kind of weird. I guess he's not Homelander in it, but he can be like a character similar to Homelander.
Well, he's not a character similar to Homelander. He's like,
oh, okay, he's just him.
He's just him. Yeah, because Homelander is a complete psychopath.
Yeah, that'll be quite kind of using he's like selling like baby bells or something.
Yeah.
What I find quite annoying about it is I feel like it's a combination of maybe not all people who are famous do their due diligence with this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like we saw with all the crypto ads. And I feel like a lot of the time they're not super tech savvy, not to like assume.
Yeah.
But like I feel like you wouldn't see Henry Cavill, for example, doing it.
Yeah.
Confirmed gamer Henry Cavill.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of I've lost some respect for Anthony Starr. It's
disappointing, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I didn't really know much about him before, but he does do a fucking incredible job of playing Homelander. I will give him that, because it is honestly, it's actually like, it's genuinely disturbing, his performance at some points. Like it's
maybe he's not acting.
Well, maybe not. Who knows? But
maybe
it's
based
like,
on this,
I'd say it's like almost on the level of Heath Ledger playing the Joker. I'd put it like up there in terms of like embodiment of the character.
Yeah, like
it's not quite there, but it's up. It's definitely up there. In terms of like
he was on another level.
Like there's these particular moments. If you ever watch the show, you'll know what I mean. Where he's like trying to remain calm. You can tell like he's basically trying to not laser people, because and you could just, and it all just like you'll get a shot of his face and you could just like, you're like, Jesus Christ, this man is psychotic. Like you can just, it's all there. Like you can just. It's like if you saw him doing that in person, if there wasn't the screen between you and him, you'd be frightened. You'd be running for your life or shitting yourself, or like literally like he's really good. So
like if you saw Christian Bale from American Psycho,
yeah,
like looming behind you talking about his collection of records,
yeah.
So it is him then, confirmed.
Well, I assume it must be, but it's just really weird. Like, my first thought was bizarre, it must be a deep fake, but I don't know. But like I can't find any information about it anywhere.
It's strange that they have such high production values, some of them too, because you're like, are they really making that much money off of the like little cosmetics that they sell? And they obviously are.
Yeah.
But it's just a weird industry, isn't it?
Yeah, like I thought there'd be a news article or something about it, but I just can't seem to find anything.
No, or like that they'd have had him do like a tweet about it or something.
Yeah.
Speaking of strange adverts, I've been getting similar ones that very much are deep fake.
Okay.
They're from these really piss me off actually. They're from Unity ads.
Right.
So they're the ads that show in like Unity games on mobile.
Okay, yeah.
I get them in Duolingo.
Oh, I've heard. I think I did. You know how we were speaking about Evan Edinger?
Yes.
Prior
Yeah,
to,
that's the
prior to
videos I've
starting.
seen of his.
Yeah, he did a
He's a big
video on
Duolingo guy.
Duolingo. Yeah, I haven't watched it, but I did see that he did a video on it.
Yeah, he didn't talk about these, I don't think. But yeah, that's how I first started watching his videos, so I'm pleased you reminded me of that. But yeah, so they've got Unity ads as their platform. I thought it was AdSense at first, but it's not. And they've got some that are they've got the usual, like, just irritating ones. They've got some really scummy ones on there that I'm angry about. So they've got this one for a game called Vita Mahjong.
Right.
And they've used footage of real people, but they've like clearly like AI dubbed over the top of them because you can see their lip sync's like wrong and their like mouth kind of bubbles as it tries to like keep up with the sync through like AI editing.
Yeah.
It's really obvious if you know what you're looking for, but like they've got this ads for this game in particular, and they talk about how this mobile game where you word match and play Vita Mahjong can cure Alzheimer's.
Oh, fuck's sake.
They literally say that.
That kind of shit makes my blood boil.
I was so angry.
That's ridiculous.
And they just outright say it with like an AI. I've seen several different versions of it, and it's all the same thing. They've got a doctor, a faked doctor. So they've got like a doctor that's clearly giving an interview about something completely different, and they've just like AI lip synced him saying something else and dubbed an AI voice over the top of him saying that he recommends this shitty piece of garbage mobile game full of ads.
Yeah.
As a way to reverse the effects of Alzheimer's.
Yeah, I'm afraid currently there is no way known to science to reverse Alzheimer's, in case anyone's listening.
And that's like just a horrible thing to advertise, right?
Yeah.
And it makes me so mad.
Scummy. As someone who has now had two grandparents with Alzheimer's one, dementia the other one. Yeah, that's get fucked, mate. Get fucked.
Likewise. It's, first-hand experience. It's horrible, and every time I see it, it makes me furious. What makes me even more furious is that Unity Ads is a shit fucking ad platform, and the only options you get when you report it is like, I don't like the ad, or like a couple of other ones that are just like not relevant.
But to be fair, AdSense isn't much better. Like,
is it not?
You can't. Yeah, they're like. So if you go on YouTube because I keep trying to report like. Since I turned off personalized ads, like I constantly get like variations of lonely insert ethnicity women looking for companionship adverts.
Oh, they have them on AdSense? God, I thought they were like but they were supposed to have cleaned up the platform and got rid of all those, I thought.
No, there's. But if you go,
it's still very much
report advert. It's it violates Google's policy. It doesn't really give you it. To be fair, it seems to give you a little bit more when you're on desktop. On mobile, it doesn't really give you an option to just say this ad is not really relevant to me, or I don't know, is.
Well, with this one, I want to flag it for like misinformation, but it sounds like a similar way to AdSense. There's no like. There's no option for like this.
Well, that's the thing. Like, like I want to just flag it as like this. Yeah, this is a very suspicious looking advert. I'm not gonna click on it to find out that it's. I just want to flag it saying, look, this is ringing alarm bells for me. I'm not going to click on this because it looks like a suspect link, but I feel like someone needs to look at this. But there's no option to do that.
It's like these ones I'm seeing. It's like it's very similar. It's like this is a scam. But like I know if I do that, it won't work because they won't review the ad. They'll just the app is real.
Yeah.
The product they're advertising exists. It's just the way they're advertising it is illegal. I'm pretty sure in this country.
But it's the wild west of the internet, isn't it?
Yeah, there's no way for me to because I know it's going to go to some automated system. So if I flag it for like it's either I can flag it for scam or I can flag it for like it said like significant harm or like significant physical harm.
Yeah.
So it's like, Jesus Christ, how bad does this have to be for it to hit your threshold?
Yeah.
What about or I don't like the ad, which is just, or like I don't like the ad, which is just not going to do anything. So it won't get it. I want the ad to be removed from the platform. I don't just want to not see it anymore myself.
Yeah.
Plus that bit doesn't work anyway because I've done that and I still get different variants. I've got like a million different variants of it. But that makes me absolutely furious.
Yeah, it's not great. There's a lot of them, but yeah.
But one provider who will never give you adverts that are not researched, as thoroughly as this podcast episode's topics are researched, and that's the scrambled checksum.
Oh yeah, and if you want more quality podcast material like you have experienced whilst listening to this episode,
and smooth segues into ads for our own podcast,
you can find us on
Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Amazon Music, Audible, Deezer, YouTube, and YouTube Music. Thank you, Ethan, for amusing Google Podcasts from that list.
You
can also find us on podcasters.spotify.com/pod/show/scrambled-checksum. And that'll give you all the platforms that Spotify, Spotify for podcasters, whatever the hell it's called now, pushes us out to. And you can also find us...
It actually won't. It'll give you all the platforms that they allow you to include the link to. But not all the platforms that it pushes it out to.
Oh, okay. So yeah. Make sure to find us on Deezer, basically. You can also find us on youtube.com/@scrambledchecksum, or just use the search bar and search Scrambled Checksum and you'll find us. And if you are watching us on YouTube right this second, please don't forget to comment, rate, share, and subscribe.
And you can also find me and my lovely real face.
Of course.
By going to youtube.com/@TAB longer. Yeah, TAB longer, all one word.
It's tech a bit longer.
Yeah. Or you can search tech a bit longer, or you can, youtube.com/@tab longer.
I was going to say /@tablonga.
Tablonga. Yeah, I couldn't get Tabble. I wanted @Tabble, but someone's already got it. But they don't upload anything, which is infuriating. But anyway.
Yeah, make sure you check out Ethan on Tablonga. The videos are good.
Yeah. Well, the video.
The videos will be good.
I've got 2 more recorded, but they're not edited yet. So
make sure you subscribe so you don't miss those.
Yeah, they'll be along at some point.
And we'll see you on the Scrambled Checksum in the meantime.
We'll see you every other Monday. Scrambled.
No, we're not doing this again. No, this is too cringe. We'll see you every other Monday, guys.
Yeah. See you later, guys. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.
Catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.